How quick to change your rear brake pads on a Harley Davidson Softail. Let's get into it.
RevelatorAlf.
Hello, welcome to RevelatorAlf. So this video is all about, well, how long does it take to change your rear brake pads on a Harley Davidson Softail from 2018 onwards, let's say. So I've got the brake pads here. I use the EBC brake pads, FA710HH. Those ones I've used in the past, absolutely fine. That worked for me anyway. And you see they've got a nice bit of brake pad on there. Now mine are pretty much about 60% worn through. I will be having new tires fitted quite soon, so I thought, you know what, let me just change them now anyway. They've been on here for what, nearly 3 years, so I thought, you know, let's just get some new ones on there. Right, so there are a few things that you'll need to do. If you look at the manual, it kind of says, you know, you have to take the rear wheel out, take the brake caliper off and all that kind of stuff. I'm going to see if I can just loosen the exhaust. On the Sport Glide, you kind of have to remove the exhaust to access the bolts here and on the caliper, and I'll quickly show you. Right there, you have to access those bolts and the hanger pins there. So by removing or loosening off the exhaust, that gives you access to that. Then basically I'm going to undo the caliper bolts that retain the caliper, slide the caliper forward, and then see if I can remove the brake pads there and then. I've got a few things that are already pre-prepared for this. So I've got a bit of WD-40 just to spray on the mounting bolts of the exhaust. That'll be done in a moment. I've got some copper grease just for the hanger pin screws, just so they're easier to come out, but they'll be retorqued down, and I'm going to flash up what the torque is there as well. I've got a little syringe to draw out some brake fluid from the rear master cylinder just at the front there. I've got my socket wrench for a 9/16 to hold on my exhaust clamp there. I've got a 3/16 Allen key to undo the mounting screws of the exhaust as well. I've got a number 5 Allen key for the hanger pins, and I got a 12mm for those caliper bolts as well. Right, so what I'm going to do is time it, just like I did on the front brake pads. I'm going to time it to see how long this actually takes me to do, and that'll give you an idea as well. I'll leave this running, the video running, but then I'll speed it up afterwards as well. So hopefully you'll get a real idea of how much it is. Unlike the front brake pads, I think I've come prepared with all my tools, torque wrench, wrenches, everything. But as I say, I'm not going to try and sugarcoat this. I'm going to try and give you exactly a real time view of how long this takes. Right, enough waffle. Let's just get on with it. Right, so the bike is in the upright position. I'm just going to start loosening off the exhaust, loosen off the bolts of the caliper, try and move it forward, and away you go. But one thing I'm going to do first of all, before I remove the caliper, is to loosen those hanger pins first of all. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do. Right, the time now is 13:44. Let's get going. Loosen off the hanger pins. The front caliper bolt is shorter than the rear caliper bolt. This is a slider sleeve bolt. This is just the mounting bolt. Right, move the caliper forward, and there's just enough room, just enough wiggle room to bring the caliper out. Right, let's take the cap off the master cylinder, syringe, and take some brake fluid out. Okay, let's push those brake pistons back, bit of leverage, use the old brake pads, bit of a screwdriver in there. Watch the rise of the brake fluid. Brilliant. Pistons are pushed back in. You're using the old brake pads as leverage, so you're not going to damage anything. Okay, remove the hanger pins. And it's on these threads of the hanger pins that you want to add a bit of copper grease, in my opinion. They're a bit corroded, but they'll be good to go on again. You can add a bit of copper grease onto that as well, just a little bit. Okay, so as you pull the pin out, the inboard brake pad will be released. So you can still see there's quite a lot of wear left on that. I've bitten the bullet on this one, so I'm going to change them anyway. Okay, then put one back in, add just a little bit of copper grease and on the thread as well. Put the brake pad back in, do the same with the other hanger pin, just a smidge of copper grease. Put the other brake pad in. Make sure your hands are pretty clean-ish. Make sure the pads are spread apart. Then maneuver it back in. Find that sweet spot. So when you can put it over the disc and then back in situ like that. Just hand tighten the hanger pins now. Bit of thread lock on the caliper bolts. Just a little bit. Short one goes in the front one. So once again, I forgot my accessories here, but there you go. The caliper bolts, they are basically 14 to 18 foot-pounds of torque, or 19.6 to 24.5 Newton meters. Right, done. Right, hanger pins. Let me torque those down. Now the hanger pins are 14.7 to 19.6 Newton meters, or 11 to 14 foot-pounds. Right, just tidy up the master cylinder, pump the brakes, bish bash bosh, done. Right, done. We just pump these brake pads. They're nice and tight now. Right, the time is now 14:07, so that's 13:44 to 14:07. So that's 16, and that's 23 minutes. Is that right? Yeah, that's right. 23 minutes to do the rear brake pads. Okay, add another 5 minutes to put your exhaust back on. But that's it. Job done. Hope you found that useful. Don't forget to subscribe, hit that bell, like and share, and check out the website RevelatorAlf.com, and hopefully you'll be a bit more organised than me, and maybe even be able to beat that time. Right, let me put the exhaust back on, and I'm going to have a cup of tea. Ta-da! Just in case you were wondering, it's now 14:10, and the exhaust is back on. Done. Ta-da!